Okay, so we're going to cover the what you can do with template setup for design. So I'll go ahead and jump right in. This is the admin area of Absorb, and the templates are going to be under Setup, and we'll click on Templates. And this currently has all the templates that we are utilizing in the system. And you see we have our own, and I'm going to go ahead and show you our own template and edit that. And we have a public dashboard. We don't have the public dashboard enabled. Public dashboard would be something that if someone is not logged into the system, it would probably be an alternate page to the login page. So for example, if you had an e-commerce site and you wanted to have information about courses that are available, then the public dashboard would probably be more appropriate. I'm not sure how this would function with single sign-on if you're logging in from another website. This is just going to focus on logging in on the Absorb LMS. So the private dashboard is what the user will see whenever they log in. Courses will be the template for the course details, and I'll get into this more. Login is going to define what the login page looks like. Settings are going to have information such as logo. You have the ability to edit your menus, privacy policy, terms and condition, footer, and profile page. The theme is going to be information such as color schemes and branding. So if you have certain colors that are used within your corporation, then this is where you would enter the colors. So the colors in the learning management system would show up the same. You have the ability to edit your icons. So you see you have a lot of pretty complex abilities to
so we have a branding PDF that has all those colors and numbers defined for it. Who from Evergy is going to be configuring this? Make sure they have that information.
If you give me that information whenever we start setting up the LMS, I can go ahead and get this set up.
Okay.
Unless you have somebody that is going to be managing this, and I can work on their end. Can work with them directly to set this up.
Yeah, I don't think we've discussed that yet, but I suppose this would be like the super admin's job, and we would just have it locked down to one person. And I think right now that's going to be me, unless that changes. So probably me.
So I'm going to go ahead and create a new template, and I'm going to call this, or for the Evergy department that I have set up in the system. Click Add, and now I'm working within an Evergy template, and you'll see that certain content, such as the private dashboard, that's being inherited from the parent. The parent template is the Martech Media template, which is the template that is already enabled on this system. Whenever we set up your system or your design, it's obviously going to be a main Evergy template. But if you get to a point where you want to have a special template for each department or plant location or whatever, then you would be able to set templates for those departments whenever you set up the system. And with departments, they can have, you can duplicate all the information throughout the design, and you can change certain features. Let's say if I uncheck inherit, this is going to define what the welcome page looks like, and I'm going to see if I can pull that up. So this is the viewing the Evergy department, and this is something that I was playing around with earlier. And this is showing the welcome page. And they have a background image saved, and I don't really like the background image. I just wanted you to see what it could do. I could probably have something more subdued, maybe a light black and white image. So if I come back over to the welcome page, this is also going to show what I have laid out on the page, such as my courses, resume courses, catalog, and tiles. So if I go back to the page, it's showing my courses, resume courses, catalog, and these are the tiles that I have selected. Now I can edit these tiles. I can drag them around into a different order. I can say if I want to delete this profile and add another tile. Let's say maybe I want a hyperlink, and then I can edit this and we'll say catalog. Course listing. Save. Now we have, whenever I save this, go back to this page, there's now a course listing link that will link to the Martech course listing. My courses are only going to, these are going to be courses that have been assigned to the user. Resume courses are going to be courses that have been started but not completed. And catalog is going to list courses that are available to the user. And if I click catalog, it will take me to the full catalog page. And with this design, you have the ability to edit this graphic and also the colors and how the colors function with rollovers and yes.
To put something up above my courses that, like, say, like mandatory training or compliance training or something like that, or where, you know, if we flagged a course as compliant, it would show up at the very top.
What you would want to do is set that up on the course level, where you can mark a course as mandatory. Let's see, let's go to courses and look at course details. This is the banner that I had. And this is going to be the course layout that we're using. This is a catalog layout. Just looking for other options we have where we can, for the catalog, we can default the sort order where mandatory courses will show up first. And save that. This is the course and catalog page, and so this is defining how each one of these pages are going to show. So my courses, let me save this. So if we go back to the My Courses page, then it would list mandatory courses first. Right now, I don't have any mandatory courses in the system, so assigned to myself, so those aren't going to show up.
Can the courses be mandatory for some people and optional for others, or is it black and white for the course?
On a course level, on an individual course level, it is pretty much black and white. If you wanted to create a training program and, let's say, a curriculum with a certain number of required courses, then you can make that curriculum mandatory. But on a course level, if you make it mandatory for one, it's going to be mandatory for all. Let me make sure I'm not lying to you.
Yeah, that's what you and I had talked about a couple of weeks ago, Dusty.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really easy to work around that. Like Dusty was saying, we would just set a curriculum up and we would just call it mandatory whatever, and then, you know, for some users we would assign the regular course, which wasn't mandatory, and then for the other users we would assign the curriculum that only contained that course. So, and that would be transparent to the user.
Yeah, this is the login graphic that we have for our system, and we have this where it will show full screen. And under settings, I can set a logo. So what I'm going to do is I have a logo that's already created for Evergy. So I'm going to go to Upload Image, click my Evergy logo, click Save, and now the Evergy logo has been updated. And it looks like there might be a faint gray background. So
I sent you.
Theme.
Oh, okay. I sent you a PNG in the email there, but.
Oh, you did?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is just for demo purposes. Anything that I set up on this system will not be duplicated on the new system, just because this is on the Martech portal. So I can change this gray. Let me see what gray is being used in that. So I have to change this to FA, and save. It's going to should update that background color. So we obviously have a lot of options with these settings. So the logo, we have our menu. This is the menu that is on the right side of the page, right here. So we can determine what pages are going to show. We can also specify what order we want those to appear in. Public menu, we do not have a public menu set. We just haven't seen a need for it because we do not face the public. So in the future, we're kind of moving towards having an e-commerce presence. So users will be able to buy individual licenses for our courses. So that might be a reason why we would want a public menu. But right now, if a user comes to the system, they have to log in. And this welcome image right here, if I log out, say I return to the template, I'm going to log out and log in as another user. This is the welcome image, and these are the rows that we had that I was showing you earlier. And let's go back and look at that other image. So if I want to edit this, because I have the ability to change the opacity. So if I, let's say, change this to 20%, okay, that looks a lot better. So are there any questions in reference to editing the design template?
Looks fairly straightforward.
Yeah, I know. Do you think this addresses some of the concerns in reference to what was of concern earlier this week?
I have a question.
Yes.
So if instead of a course, you had a curriculum, like some of the compliance courses are only required for some employees, so it'd have to sit as a curriculum, right? Is that correct? In order to assign it to only certain people. How would that look on here? Are any of these set up as curriculum? Like, can I put more than one course into the curriculum, or would each course be its own
Yes,
and have its own file?
Sure. So let me go to the courses page and pull up a curriculum for you. We have this curriculum. Go ahead.
On those tiles, can they have the due date on them when it's required to be completed by?
Yes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a couple of things to this curriculum that I think Kurt created this. I'm going to make this mandatory, and I'm going to, we have the ability for allow self-enrollment. Allow self-enrollment will define who can search for this. So if allow self-enrollment is turned on, it's going to appear in the catalog. Enable automatic enrollment is going to automatically enroll this with any users that meet the defined criteria. So we could have a certain department, we can have users with a certain job title. You have all of these options to define how users are going to automatically be enrolled into this training. So if I have, let's say, all users that have the first name of Dusty, and this is going to update, and it's going to say two receiving a new enrollment, or 2 users meet the automatic enrollment rules that you have set. And the completion, we'll have a due date, and we'll say specific date. This is due on 31st. At 10 a.m. and save. So I'm going to go to my catalog page, go back to my learner side. See if I did that right. Didn't do something right. Let me go look at that again. I'm going to go ahead and just assign this to myself. Click enroll users.
And if I have a learner list, I can upload that too. If I have a long list of learners.
If the learners are not already in the system, if you have a learner list, you can go to the user page, and it would be my recommendation, since we have so many users, or you are going to have so many users in the Evergy system, that that you utilize the organizational units such as job title and
or group memberships.
yeah, and you do have the ability to set up groups. So I can select so many users and click create group, and that will create a group for those users. So I can also set position, and let's say I want everyone that's a reliability engineer. And so I have all these reliability engineers. I can select all these users and then create a group, and we'll call that reliability. And we can also set this as a dynamic behavior where we add a role. So anytime there's somebody that has the position of reliability engineer, they're automatically going to be enrolled into this group.
Okay, gotcha. Sorry, I didn't mean to take this on a tangent.
No, that's okay. They're good questions. So let me go back to the learner side.
That was Angela, right?
Yes,
was that
it was.
Angela that asked that question? Were you on that email chain that I sent around with all the criteria that we're gonna try to get sent into Absorb?
Yes, and so I've sent a couple. I have one more thought. I can't remember, is start date on there? Or like when someone started?
I don't remember, but if it isn't,
Yeah.
I think of that you want to be able to select out a group of people. Just make sure you add that, and then David's going to see if we can get that as part of our user upload. And that way, when you're ready to assign training, you would just go in that filter and filter off of whatever that criteria is.
Okay, perfect. Yep, I might send one more over to you.
Okay.
I don't want to get too far down the rabbit hole, but there are several options for the user import template. I think that I sent this to you as well, Kurt. You have all of these options to, when you're importing users, job title, date hired, supervisor lookup. So there's a lot of options. So going back to that one curriculum, if I hover over this, I see the due date is May 31st, 2019, and it is should be showing up as a mandatory. Yeah, this course is required to be completed by this date.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
And I'm not sure how different it would look if it was just mandatory but did not have a due date. So something I can play with here. Anybody else have any questions while I'm?
Well, it's similar to that one. If we assign a group to a person that enrolls them in a curriculum, when do we, and the curriculum has a due date, when do we take them back out of that group? Or we just leave them in there forever, or how, so that if you change, so that they don't keep getting re-enrolled, or however that might work?
Well, they won't be re-enrolled into a training unless you have that enabled. So
so if we have annual compliance training, we would put them in and enroll them for due date of this year, and then when we have new training come in, they're already enrolled in it, and we just assign new training to that curriculum, or
well, you can
set up a separate enrollment.
If there's training that's going to be completed on a renewing basis, you can set up, you can have it as a certificate. And this is actually set up as a certificate with no expiration. But the default would be like this whenever you set up a training. But if you want, say, users to complete this, let's say that we want users to complete the training every year, and every year they'll be enrolled, and we'll say after 11 months, automatic enrollment, and then all the users that have received an initial enrollment of this training will automatically be enrolled after 11 months from the time of completion.
All right, so what about the option of we want the training, the annual training to occur every February, but if I move into a role in May that requires the training, I need it now, but then I need it again in February. Or if I move into the role in October, I need it then and again in February and every February after that. Instead of 12 months from the last time I took it, or 11 months from the last time I took it, I want it annually at the same time, but I need it immediately after I get the access to whatever requires that training initially.
So you want a user enrolled into a training at the same time in February, and if a user starts in March, then or May, you want them to be required to complete that training as well.
And then be on the February timeline after that going forward.
Right. Let's see.
Or do we just
we can have
read?
We can have a due date associated with this for I might have to get back with you on that question. The certificate, they have a year of, or how long the certificate will last for, and we also have an expiry date, but that expiration date is specific to a year.
Well, we have new training every year, so I guess it could be set up for that. When we set up a class for 2019, we say it expires in January or March of 2020. Then when we set up that other class, we enroll them in the 2020 class and say it expires in March of 2021. Just keep rolling them that way.
Yeah, so you could have, this will expire on December 31st, and then you could go in and edit this and then reassign it to your users, edit the expiration date, and then reassign it.
Yeah, and I wonder if there's not a way we could do it with two different enrollments. One enrollment for everybody in a group that just runs every year, and then a whole nother enrollment for when someone with a different rule, when somebody gets moved into the department. It can probably be done. We just would have to fool around with it. There's so many options with how you enroll and how the filter works. I'd be surprised if we couldn't do it.
Yeah, well, have to look at dynamic enrollments and these are post enrollments. Those are courses that a user would automatically be enrolled in once they complete this training.
Hey guys, it's Lindsay. So this has me wondering about another question. So what about new employees? Is there something that kicks off and says this person is new to the system, and because they're new, they're assigned to certain training, or is that something, how would we set that up?
We can assign a group to them, or you can set a date in here.
Well, you can also set up a group, a user group, and so whenever someone gets added to the system with the department, this all employee, whenever someone gets added to the department for Evergy, they would automatically be added into that group. Or you could even have them as a status of new hire as a job title. So if we had a job title and that was new hire, then the new hires would receive the new hire training.
Gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Lindsay, we could add them to a new hire group, and then if you just watch that group, assign curriculum to that.
Okay, yeah.
Could you pick date hired from that quick, Dusty? I want to see what the options are. Just make a quick curriculum or group, yeah.
Yeah, date hired, and you have before, on, or between. So if we had, say, between June 1st and
There's no system
December
date.
31st.
You know,
I'm
I
sorry?
was hoping there was a way you could pick today as an option, and then that just got to be updated every day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
you can do
system
that.
date.
You can do on, and
You need a system date, not a calendar date.
Right. I'm actually surprised that's not in there either.
well, you can have date created, and that would be the day they were added to the system.
No, but what I'm saying is what we want to do is we want to, instead of picking a specific date for that, we want that date to be updated every single day. So today it would be 5/10, tomorrow it would be 5/11, next day it would be 5/12. So like David was saying, a system date or current date. It doesn't look like that's an option though. We can ask for
We can provide that in the groups that we send from Identity Manager.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm not sure I follow how you would use that. How you want the system to look at users added each day, and then assign training.
So as a new user comes in, we would assign them to a new user group that has a curriculum assigned to that group.
Okay. So you don't think the date range would work?
It needs to be kind of a rolling date range. Today we want it to be between May 1st and May 10th, and tomorrow we want it between May 2nd and May 11th, and the next day we want it between May 3rd and May 13th or 12th.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds like it could be rather complex.
But if we can assign a group, and you can just say if they're a member of this group, assign this training, I think we've got it covered.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll just add that to our list, and then as long as we just remember what that means, I'll just put new hires on there, and then it'll just be a Boolean, yes or no.
Cool. Thanks.
Okay. Anything else? I'll look more into the dynamic enrollments. And also the completions.
So does the end user have the ability to change anything in terms of the import here through this interface, or is that all, how do we handle setting up and testing the CSV file updates?
That would be something that the super administrator would be responsible for. And it's something that I don't know if I can fully answer that question right now, because I know that you have certain functionality that's going to be built into your learning management system that like APIs and certain scripts that are going to be more than I can discuss right now. I don't think I can effectively answer that question.
Okay.
Kurt?
Yes.
Do you have anything to add to that?
Sorry, I was adding to our data to important to absorb list, so I didn't follow. I always get caught whenever I'm doing something else.
Well, you had mentioned earlier in the demo that you had sent over it looked like a spreadsheet showing information about what could be sent in the CSV file.
Oh, you're referring to this file right here.
Yeah, that. I don't believe I've seen that yet.
Okay, I'll send it again. I thought I had sent it already.
Oh, okay. I probably missed it.
Yeah, Kurt, I told him that there's certain functionality that's going to be built into the system with the use of APIs, and also like the super administrators would be the ones that would be able to import content, but I think that might be an automated process.
I don't think content we were going to. I think we were talking about like the identities, the user information.
Okay. Well, I'm sure we'll all get it figured out.
Okay.
All right, so if nobody has anything else, do you still want me to post this video, Kurt, or just send it to you?
Yeah, you can send it to me. Only one person missed it. Some other people might be interested later on.
Okay.